Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Have you checked your feet someday? Have you inspected your feet lately? Believe it or not, those tootsies could reveal critical clues about your liver health. Your liver's like a ninja warrior, stealthily defending your body from toxins and enabling digestion. But if it gets overloaded, your entire body suffers. Ignoring the hints could lead to chronic liver issues over time, potentially leading to serious conditions like cirrhosis, hepatitis, or even liver failure. Let's closely decode the liver sauce signals hiding in plain sight on your feet. I'll comprehensively walk you through the top 12 subtle, but important signs spanning from skin changes to swelling and everything in between. Spotting these early is the key to proactively addressing problems before they escalate into something much worse. Kicking things off, we have swollen right foot, medically called peripheral edema. Pressing firmly on the puffy area leaves a visible indentation from fluid buildup within the tissues. This problematic fluid accumulation flows from the liver's reduced ability to properly regulate blood flow and manage fluid volumes effectively throughout the body. Coming in at number 2, you may notice new spider veins cropping up. These tiny reddish web-like networks of delicate blood vessels can emerge on the lower legs and feet as a visual cue signaling that the liver is struggling severely to filter out excess hormones like estrogen from the body, which can then cause these vessels to abnormally widen and become far more noticeable just under the surface of the skin. The third sign to watch for is subtle but important color changes and texture alterations in your toenails themselves, which might start appearing dull, brittle, and predominantly white in places or exhibit a concerning curved, thickened club-like shape along the nail bed. Such abnormal changes are clear suggesters that your nail beds and toes are not receiving adequate oxygen circulation and proper transport of nutrients for tissue health. A strong potential warning signifier of your liver's overall poor underperformance issue in essential nutrient absorption from the digestive system and release into the bloodstream after meals. Fourth on the list, flat circular purple skin lesions can slowly begin to appear, sometimes in small clusters. Now, these strange lesions are actually not merely an isolated, harmless dermatological skin concern or cosmetic issue. But beyond the surface, they could also point to much deeper-rooted problems like your liver's markedly diminished function in toxin filtration from your inner metabolic systems, or the lesions themselves could even be presenting as indicative outer physical manifestations of an inner viral hepatitis infection that has already been silently impacting liver cells for some extended length of time behind the scenes. Fifth involves carefully examining the overall integrity and texture changes in your heels and feet skin, where you may start noticing the skin becoming excessively dried out, flaky, and cracked open in spots. Now, this isn't merely a passing cosmetic issue or seasonal dryness. Significant skin cracking can actually reflect and signal potential deficiencies and dysfunction occurring internally related to nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids or vitamin B3, which are both essential for overall liver membrane health and optimal fat metabolism balance within liver cells. If neglected long-term, cracked heels prevents dangerous fatty lipid buildup accumulation inside liver tissues over the years. The sixth vital sign to check for is unusual discoloration, dots, spots, or uneven patchy staining of the skin's surface on your feet, which could manifest observing as diffused blotchy red, deep brown or yellow hue patches and marks distributed across the skin, rather than the usual uniform skin tone. These strange dyschromias and color alterations scattered on the surface skin are highly symptomatic of compromised underlying blood microcirculation health, a condition closely linked and often inadvertently induced by high-impact oxidative stress on the liver over a long time span, generating excessive concentrations of waste byproducts like bilirubin and bile acids that must be removed by healthy, strong liver function, so skin discoloration ends up becoming outer evidence of inner liver organ struggle. Sign number 7 is very subtle initially, so let's carefully talk about how the symptom of abnormal itching sensations, specifically on the soles of your feet, can reflect early evidence of an overtaxed, congested fatty liver. Essentially, when the liver has accumulated excessive fat infiltration from a continual poor diet and lifestyle habits over many years, this dire microenvironment within liver cells leads to a gradual buildup of leaked toxic bile salts accumulating right beneath the surface layers of the skin, which then goes on to triggering localized histamine immune reactions to release in higher amounts into your bloodstream, resulting in this persistently aggravating severe itchiness specifically centered on the thick skin of your foot soles and heels areas, which should not ignore or brush off without further investigation. The eighth vital sign to monitor for is the unusual scattered appearance of purplish or reddish bruise-like spots cropping up on feet skin here and there over time, medically known as benign purpura spots. Now, this seemingly innocuous subtle skin manifestation can often actually be intrinsically linked to and be an exterior signaling result of substantial interior problems with overall circulatory system health stemming from high-impact oxidative stress on liver tissues for prolonged periods of time under the surface, which starts flickering warning signals of liver cell distress outward onto feet skin. Alternatively, onset of purpura spots could also be a strong early warning reflection of diabetic microvascular complications from chronically elevated blood sugars damaging small vessels over many years, which is also frequently accompanied by pathology like insulin resistance driving fatty liver disease. Moving up the list to the ninth most common, but overlooked sign is the gradual sensation of uncomfortable tingling, numbness, or painfully abnormal burning sensations in the feet manifesting frequently. This can often be lightly dismissed, but actually very important red flag for inflammatory nerve damage and associated neuropathies originating from interior metabolic dysregulations problems like steadily elevated high blood sugar levels from obesity or prediabetes-like conditions, which also then frequently underpins the onset of insulin resistance syndromes with a high risk of silently developing accumulation of fatty deposits inside liver tissues, forming the initial stages of NAFLD. The 10th sign on the list involves subtle changes to toenail integrity and texture, where you may start noticing the nails on a few toes have thickened, gradually turned opaque, off yellow, and become dry brittle to the touch. Now, if some of your nails have slowly changed in this manner, it could be indicative of a mild superficial fungal infection taking hold under the nail, which, while appearing harmless externally, is also epidemiologically correlated with patterns of imbalance occurring inside the body's microbiome ecosystems and tying into potential dysbiosis-driven liver dysfunction. Proceeding next on the list, the 11th sign we absolutely mustn't casually overlook is the development of noticeably unpleasant or offensive odors emanating from the feet. Therefore, if your feet have taken on an unusually strong, foul, sour smell that seems resistant to hygiene measures and changing socks, it critically signals the abnormal outward release of various waste toxins and metabolic byproducts through pores of the skin that is actually reflecting interior problems potentially occurring with gastrointestinal microbiome balance, and thereby related to issues with excess fat, overloaded fatty liver, and subsequent problems of downstream waste byproducts spilling over into circulation. Foul foot odors can also be a sign of kidney dysfunction in cleansing blood, also partially regulated by the liver, so multi-organ communication is at play. Finally, last but definitely not least on the list, reaching number 12, is a condition formerly termed jaundice, which is readily recognizable by the gradual development of a vibrant off-yellowish hue emerging on certain regions of skin, most evidently on eyeballs where white regions start growing yellow hues. Now, the obvious external jaundice discoloration strongly exemplifies and leaves zero doubt that substantial interior liver organ dysfunction and cell damage is now underway, usually indicating previous significant gateway damage from excessive alcohol, obesity-driven metabolic inflammation, and the downhill consequences of long-time neglected fatty liver disease, having now reached tipping point emergency level crisis signaling helplessness, given jaundice means struggling liver cells are too far overwhelmed to ever be able to filter out accumulating bilirubin waste byproducts anymore. So in summary, as we cover these 12 key subtly manifesting exterior symptom signals that can reflect liver distress broadcasting warnings to the surface, I strongly encourage you to use this information as a template reference guide to further motivate your own expanded research learning journey around liver health and full-spectrum wellness, because should you start noticing one or more of these strange, but important symptoms subtly cropping up on your feet and legs, then promptly consulting an experienced functional healthcare professional very knowledgeable in liver disorders becomes truly paramount for urgent further specialized investigation and crafting and prevention-focused action plan. The big picture takeaway here is fully recognizing that early detection paired with evidence-based corrective lifestyle adjustments and nutritional rehabilitation interventions jointly pave the smooth way for far more effective root cause resolution, downstream disease risk mitigation, and long-term liver organ revitalization to maximize healthy longevity. Now that you are broadly aware of some of the key signs and symptoms signaling liver dysfunction and inflammation consequences stealthily manifesting warning signals to the surface of our feet, let's conclude this overview by briefly taking a closer look at what usually the most common root lifestyle and dietary perpetuating causes of these liver disorder troubles in the first place. The major usual suspects driving liver disease include excessive alcoholic drinks consumption over years, which can directly damage and deplete hepatic liver cells. Gradual depletion, because the liver is forced to continually remove high circulating alcohol toxicity loads from the bloodstream. Another leading cause of obesity-driven liver damage is chronically overeating dense quantities nutrient-poor processed sugar-laden junk foods in the standard American diet, in combination with an excess overload of insulin-elevating refined wheat grains and high glycemic carbohydrates daily, which all collectively contribute over years into dump truck loads excess blood sugar into circulation, which must be converted for handling somehow. Usually liver and fat cells absorb all this surplus sugar influx, becoming severely overloaded, thereby directly instigating onset of fatty liver disease, almost always accompanied by inflammatory weight gain clustering around the abdominal organs. Left uncorrected, the fatty liver condition smolders silently for years, which sets the stage for proceeding downhill into eventual inflammation, fibrosis, scarring, and possibly end-stage cirrhosis or liver cancer down the road. So in summary, the most common culprit factors attacking liver health includes alcohol overuse, chronic poor diet with excess sugar and refined carbohydrates coupled with abnormally strained insulin regulation. Therefore, here are 5 key proactive strategic steps I suggest we all can start implementing today to directly aid liver recovery and facilitate deep root cause organ regeneration for restoring healthy hepatic cellular function. Aggressively limit alcohol consumption timeframe to minimum only 1-2 days per week, allowing at least 5-6 days for liver recovery in between before next alcohol exposure. This pattern relieves the burden while liver works to rebuild resilient cells. Reduce excess dietary sugar from all sources, no exceptions, while also consciously switching over to focus eating fresh, organic whole foods the majority of the time for greatly enhanced micronutrient density to nourish liver cell revitalization. Prioritize establishing consistent active movement patterns and exercise training to accelerate nourishing energy circulation, while also directly guarding against onset of fatty liver disease through enhancing insulin sensitivity and balancing leptin signals. Run nutritional testing panels assessing liver enzymes, inflammation markers, fatty biomarkers, metabolic indicators. Based on results, consider adding in supplemental liver-supporting herbs, amino acids, antioxidants, and other compounds personalized to your goals. Actively manage runaway oxidative stress and systemic inflammation by consciously improving sleep consistency, getting 7-9-hour minimum every single night. Also carve out time for stress balancing mediation sessions and fun, playful laughter therapy. Happiness chemicals enhance liver health. In closing summary, let us all spread further awareness highlighting how vigilantly caring for our livers truly protects and enhances our whole body lifelong health, well-being, and vitality expressions each day. This journey begins with knowledge gathering, shifts into smart implementation of lifestyle upgrades, and culminates in the celebration of reaching deeply enriched quality of life through all dimensions. I sincerely hope spotlighting these 12 common but subtle symptoms stemming from liver distress truly motivates your deeper dive learning expedition into full-spectrum wellness, while also triggering prompt preventative action and early intervention steps whenever needed on this path. Here's to our collective happiness, longevity, and vitality with both happy feet and happy livers for years to come.